Look up at the night sky. On a clear evening, far from city lights, you might spot a tiny point of light gliding silently overhead. It's not a star or a planet. It's a satellite, one of thousands circling our world. These silent sentinels carry our phone calls, guide our cars, predict our weather, and connect us globally. We've woven them so deeply into our lives that we often forget they're even there. But what if that piece is more fragile than we imagine? In the vast, unregulated expanse of space, new, more dangerous movements are taking place. In June 2025, a Russian satellite made a move that sent a ripple of concern through the international community. It was a reminder that space, our shared celestial backyard, is becoming a potential battlefield. The same space that powers our GPS and communications is now a domain where nations can spy on or even disable each other's critical assets. The incident involving a Russian satellite and a mysterious object it deployed near a U.S. intelligence satellite is a stark warning. The rules of engagement on Earth are extending into the cosmos, with consequences for us all. So, let's explore what happened, why it matters, and what it means for our future in space. The cosmos is calling, and we must decide how we will answer. High above Earth, the American satellite USA 326, an intelligence asset, was quietly doing its job. In early June 2025, it gained an uninvited companion, Russia's Cosmos 2558, which maneuvered into a nearly identical orbit, shadowing the American craft. Such a move is no accident. It's a deliberate, precise maneuver. For weeks, the two satellites played a tense game of cat and mouse, sometimes separated by just a few dozen kilometers. Was this espionage or something more? On June 28th, the situation escalated. Cosmos 2558 released a smaller object. This wasn't debris. It had its own propulsion and began independent maneuvers. Space security experts quickly suspected its purpose. The behavior matched that of an anti-satellite weapon. By releasing a maneuverable sub-satellite, Cosmos 2558 demonstrated the ability to approach, interfere with, or even destroy another nation's satellite. This was no longer just shadowing. It was a clear demonstration of a potential space weapon. The world watched as the line between peaceful operations and aggression blurred. The message was unmistakable. Space is now a contested domain. The silent dance had become a dangerous game, and the stakes had never been higher. Why call this the space Matryoshka? Like Russian nesting dolls, Cosmos 2558 hid a smaller object inside, only revealing it when the time was right. This approach lets Russia claim the satellite is peaceful, until the sub-satellite is released and maneuvers independently. The smaller object could be equipped with tools, a robotic arm, a microwave emitter, or simply designed to collide with its target. The Matryoshka strategy creates dangerous ambiguity: peaceful inspector or hidden weapon. It's hard to tell until it's too late. Dozens of these systems could be launched under the guise of maintenance, lying dormant for years. This blurs the line between defense and offense, making every close approach a potential threat. Unlike old anti-satellite missiles, the Matryoshka system is subtle and deniable. Russia can claim it's just a diagnostic tool. But for the nation being shadowed, that's cold comfort. These hidden threats are ever present, circling above us. The militarization of space has entered a new, more deceptive phase, and the world is watching. You might wonder, what does a Russian satellite near an American one have to do with your life? The answer: everything. Our world depends on a fragile web of satellites for communication, navigation, finance, and safety. Lose them, and modern life grinds to a halt. GPS guides your phone, airplanes, and shipping. Anti-satellite weapons threaten this system. Without GPS, navigation fails, markets collapse, and emergency services are crippled. Our global communications, phone calls, internet, even credit card transactions, rely on satellites. Weather forecasts, disaster warnings, and scientific monitoring all depend on data from space. These aren't luxuries, they're essential. An attack on a few key satellites could have a cascading effect, cutting off regions and blinding us to natural disasters. The development of weapons like the space Matryoshka puts this entire ecosystem at risk. A conflict in space would have immediate, devastating effects on Earth. Our reliance on satellites makes us all vulnerable to the growing tensions above. The 2025 incident with Cosmos 2558 isn't isolated. It's part of a troubling pattern. For over a decade, Russia has tested nesting doll satellites, each time growing bolder. Since 2014, similar Cosmos satellites have released maneuverable sub-satellites, often under the guise of peaceful inspection. In 2021, Russia destroyed one of its own satellites with a missile, creating a massive debris cloud and endangering the International Space Station. The 2025 event combines subtlety with direct intimidation, sending a clear message. Russia can threaten any satellite in orbit without creating obvious debris. This is a deliberate, repeatable strategy to challenge Western dominance in space. The trajectory is clear, from secretive tests to open demonstrations of power. Russia isn't alone. The US, China, and others are racing to control space. The US Space Force operates secretive vehicles like the X-37B, while China's Shijian satellites can maneuver and even grapple with other spacecraft. Each nation claims its actions are defensive, but rivals see them as threats. This cycle of action and reaction fuels a new arms race in orbit. China's 2007 anti-satellite test and recent co-orbital technologies show the competition is fierce. Every new Inspector satellite adds tension and risk. The security dilemma grows. As one nation builds new capabilities, others respond in kind. The risk of miscalculation and conflict rises with every launch. The greatest danger isn't just losing a single satellite, it's the threat of space debris. Old rockets, dead satellites, and fragments from collisions travel at 17,000 miles per hour. Even a fleck of paint can destroy a functioning satellite. A conflict in space could trigger the Kessler syndrome, a chain reaction of collisions, creating a debris field that renders orbits unusable for generations. China's 2007 and Russia's 2021 tests already added thousands of hazardous fragments. A full-scale conflict would create a permanent minefield, threatening all satellites, military, commercial, and scientific. The International Space Station, Hubble, and global communications would be at constant risk. We could trap ourselves on Earth, unable to safely launch new missions. The Kessler syndrome is a real, growing danger, one we're edging closer to with every new space weapon. With tensions rising, the world faces a choice. Let space become a battlefield or set new rules for peace. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty is outdated. We need clear, enforceable rules for modern threats. Diplomacy is key. Nations must negotiate new treaties or codes of conduct, banning space weapons and destructive tests. Verification is tough, but transparency and confidence-building measures can help. Enhanced space situational awareness, tracking every object in orbit, makes secret aggression harder. A global network of sensors could act as a neighborhood watch for space. Ultimately, no nation wins a war in space. Debris would cripple everyone's satellites. The chaos from a breakdown of space infrastructure would be global. Space is a fragile, shared resource. Preserving it is a matter of survival. The time to act is now. We end where we began, looking up at the sky, but now with new awareness. The story of Cosmos 2558 is more than a headline. It's a warning and a choice. Will we carry our conflicts into the heavens or find a way to coexist? The development of anti-satellite weapons pushes us toward a dangerous, militarized future. Is the strategic advantage worth risking space for everyone? This conversation belongs to all of us. The future of space will shape our lives and our children's. We have the technology to reach the stars, but do we have the wisdom to do so peacefully? The universe is vast and full of wonders. It would be a tragedy to trap ourselves on Earth by our own actions. The next time you see a satellite overhead, remember, it's a symbol of our ingenuity and our shared vulnerability. The path we choose, cooperation or conflict, will decide if those lights remain beacons of progress or become targets in a war we can't afford. The cosmos is waiting. Our future is unwritten. What story will we choose to tell among the stars?